guys and girls. Welcome to the Layer 2 Summer Show. So today we're talking to DeFi Slate. The guys are based in Florida. They contributed greatly to the DeFi community and communicating us the latest news about DeFi projects. Hello, guys.
Hey there. How you doing, Agni?
Doing great. Is it hot where you are?
Oh, it's the middle of the summer over here. It's burning hot.
Very cool, very cool. It's also quite hot where am I. So let's get going with the Layer 2 Summer. I can see that it's heating up as well in DeFi with the Uniswap embarking optimism and even Coinbase announcing that they are opening the wallet on Polygon network. So definitely getting hot. I want to learn more about yourself. So tell me, how did you get to DeFi Slate creation?
We started about a year ago, just kind of interested in the intricacies of DeFi. I mean, personally, it was like I went on CoinGecko one time and I saw that there was like something like CUSDC now. So I was like, what is going on? Like, how is there these different types of tokens? And so that kind of just dove into the rabbit hole through just other media outlets like the Defiant and Bankless, and just kind of was able to learn a lot about DeFi, and then figured why not start an education project ourselves. And so, our crypto experience kind of dates back prior to some poker playing in 2016 and some altcoin trading in 2017, and then now seriously into kind of the whole yield farming, NFTs, and DeFi space. Yeah, so we've been doing DeFi Slate for about a year now. Yeah, and it's been quite the journey.
Yeah, it's been really great to see DeFi, the whole DeFi ecosystem grow. My first introduction to DeFi, I was sitting in the same room as Andy, and there was a friend of ours, part of the blockchain club up at the University of Florida. His name was Kenton. He ended up going on to work at the MakerDAO Foundation and did some work with stablecoins and DAI. But my first introduction, I was very skeptical, DeFi as a whole. And he was up there kind of lecturing the club on stablecoins and collateralized debt pools, which is how DAI maintains its peg. And I was completely missing the point. I was still sitting there thinking, why would anyone take an over collateralized loan? If I have the money, why do I want to borrow less money? And I completely missed the point. And then kind of working through the different applications and different protocols, actually using them myself, I started to realize the value that lies nascent there.
Very cool, very cool. Indeed. So as we had a DeFi summer last year, a lot of people are saying that this summer will be a Layer 2 summer. This is because obviously the explosion of DeFi has led to congestion in the Ethereum network and high gas fees. Do you agree with that this summer is a Layer 2 summer? And how would you describe Layer 2 to the viewers in simple words?
Yeah, I think Layer 2 is a concept of basically using optimistic and other Layer 2 solutions that are basically the best to scale Ethereum. So what you're trying to achieve with Layer 2 is basically getting your funds onto faster chains to allow you to conduct transactions cheaper. Basically, what this does is it frees up this clogging that you're talking about, Agni, of Ethereum. It basically allows for DeFi at the speed of traditional finance. So, when you're on Venmo and you send somebody some cash, it gets there instantly, right? So this is kind of what Layer 2 is allowing. Without going into too much of the technicals, it's basically effectively allowing you to scale your experience in DeFi to make it much faster and much cheaper on the transaction fee side. There are some trade-offs, but that's kind of the main premise. I'll kind of let Rob take it away to see if he thinks Layer 2 summer is coming.
Yeah, do I think Layer 2 summer is coming? Well, part of it's already here. There's quite a bit of liquidity mining on Polygon, which was really the side chain, the Layer 2 that was the front runner. When we're talking about Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, Binance Chain, I really think Polygon won that race. Where Binance Chain was ultimately successful in their endeavors as well. Yeah, I think Layer 2 summer isn't quite the explosive event that we kind of expected it to be, but it has certainly allowed the people that are still involved in DeFi to continue making transactions. It really makes Ethereum usable. So, at the time of kind of maximum speculation and maximum interest in crypto, Ethereum was practically impossible to use. Even if you were sending a small amount of money and not very concerned about how quickly it got there, it would cost almost $1,000 at certain times to make a transaction. Now that we're seeing Layer 2 summer start to roll out, I think there are still multiple solutions coming down the pipe, and it's kind of like a crawl, then walk, then run type of scenario. And I think Layer 2 summer is still crawling along right now, but as we progress further, we will walk and then eventually run.
Yes, indeed. This is what I'm also seeing in the market, and definitely Polygon was the winner. Lots of people argued that Polygon is not a real layer 2 solution, that's a sidechain. Nevertheless, it's really solved the problems at that time when we really needed the most. We needed those solutions. So I saw on your Substack, you're producing quite an interesting newsletter that you spoke to lots of crypto projects. What is your feeling about projects' willingness to onboard on layer 2, or are they just thinking, oh, maybe I'll jump to another blockchain or Solana or something like that, or everybody's just waiting to embark as quickly as possible?
Well, one of the things that makes it very easy to port different side chains and develop and deploy your project on different side chains is the concept of EVM compatibility. So that stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine. And any of these side chains or any of these layer 2 solutions that are EVM compatible allow you to just simply switch the network just like you do on MetaMask and then deploy your smart contracts there. There's no change in the code and there's no other bug fixes that need to get deployed because they're all from the same code base. So I think seeing the composability between different EVM scaling solutions allows founders and developers to change between these layer 2 solutions very easily.
Yeah, most definitely. Some of the ones that we've covered on our Substack is, of course, Gate, the upcoming bridge. I think bridges are going to be one of the most important concepts of this layer 2 ecosystem, right? Being able to go from Ethereum to Polygon to XDAI and to Phantom and to Harmony and all these other chains. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an exciting concept of layer 2. It's tough to kind of figure out what is going to win or what the best solution is, but I think that we can agree that as these Optimism and Arbitrum, as these solutions roll out, we'll see increased incentives in terms of liquidity mining and in terms of getting people to onboard to layer 2. And I think one of the most exciting concepts is coming from centralized exchanges, especially the ones that are super retail heavy, giving them DeFi education up front on the exchange or through mediums such as DeFi Slate or other forms, and then basically onboarding them right to these sidechains or right to these layer 2 solutions. So if I can go on Coinbase, I can have my buddy go straight from $200 into his bank account into Coinbase in the same day. That $200 goes to USDC, it goes to Polygon, and then he can get on Curve on Polygon and start earning 8% a year on his $200 and start to use that as his savings account with basically very small fees and a seamless process. I think that's huge because that's how we go from, okay, DeFi is for crypto natives, people who want to use all these different types of apps and such, to, okay, it's really simple. You just go from Coinbase, right to this layer 2 solution, and even better, we spoke to a fellow from Pillar 5. They're building like a layer 2 wallet. So if you could go from Coinbase right to your wallet, not even have to go on MetaMask, and then just use this app on your phone to just use the front end, and then in the back end, it does all the Curve stuff for you. It does all the depositing and all that stuff for you. So all you see is your balance and your estimated APY. I think that's a huge concept in the layer 2 realm. So I'm definitely bullish on getting these exchanges to have onboarding through just the absolute, everybody can get it through layer 2 onto apps that have a clean UI, and then all the back end is kind of handled by the app itself, which allows these people to earn yield with any amount of money straight to layer 2, and the big advantage of that is obviously being able to skip the Ethereum fees on the main chain, which is primarily now used for folks who are either doing less trades or need a certain utility or have a lot of Ethereum to spare. So yeah, definitely bullish on what's going on with the onboarding to L2 experience.
Very interesting. So basically what you're saying is that for the users, they don't really care whether it's rollups or Polygon or sidechain. They really just care about simplicity and ease of use. And we do know that sidechains do not share the same security features, let's say as optimistic rollups and Zk rollups. And currently the talk is really heavy about this, explaining to why rollups are better, etc. But for the users, as you say, it's just a matter of easiness to use. Is that right?
Yeah, I think what we haven't seen yet, and knock on wood or something, but if there is a hack of a major layer 2 Polygon or Binance chain or whatnot, I think that security detriment is going to become much more of a popular issue. You know, Polygon and Binance Chain have nowhere near the number of validators that Ethereum has. I believe Binance started with like 20. Polygon started with a similar number and then grew to a few hundred. So, you know, this is clearly not as many validators as the Ethereum network, which makes it less secure. However, we haven't heard or seen a major hack of one of these roll-up solutions or side chains. And I think that's why the public is relatively unconcerned about the security of layer 2s compared to the main chain, is because we haven't had that catastrophic event as of yet. And I think if that doesn't happen, then users are going to continue to see layer 2s as a viable solution and substitution for the main chain.
In addition to that, I think the fact of the Polygon launch being kind of flooded with this yield farming and these incentives kind of took away any sort of care about what's going on and how secure or decentralized this system is. So I think there was a flock to Polygon for that reason. It was like, all right, we want to earn this yield. We want to go. We don't really particularly care. They kind of took that stance of Ethereum compatibility, and we are trying to scale Ethereum. So I think the same thing kind of happens with these more decentralized and robust ecosystems that are coming. I think they launch Arbitrum Optimism with strong incentives, and not only is the security going to be a bit better than side chains, but the incentives should also be just as good, if not better, due to the lack of liquidity when they first start. So I think we'll see a similar flock as we saw to Polygon straight to these other solutions, which we know as more secure and can be marketed as such.
Yeah, just to add that, I think that's really where we start to see a layer 2 summer, is when we get competition between these layer 2 chains in terms of offering the best incentives. You know, if Polygon offers 50, Optimism's going to offer 60, and Arbitrum's going to offer 70. And then they're just going to try to one up each other till they kind of run out of capital to deploy, and the chips will kind of settle where they may. But I think in that stint of these different layer 2s trying to claim the most liquidity is when they're going to offer the most competitive rates, and ultimately that means the most yield for users.
Right. So you touched an interesting topic. I actually wrote an article recently about this, which is called Layer 2 Needs a Token. So do you think will be a token wars in Layer 2, or there will be simply Ethereum used in combination with other solutions for liquidity mining? As we know, it could be that we're facing a token war, and projects launching there will be a combination of liquidity mining over there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've been using Arbitrum testnet. Just like I've done 5 transactions on it I think every layer 2 probably launches a token. It's as an incentive.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think plenty of layer 2s will launch. Probably every layer 2 will launch a token as well. And it comes down to the tokenomics. I refer back to Curve a lot in terms of liquidity mining, because I think Polygon followed a very similar route, you know, just throwing as much of their coin as possible at the community to get them to earn some yield, but also be familiar with their network. And that is a slippery slope. It can only last so long before you are inflating your currency to a dramatic extent. And if people don't have a strong utility to hold on to this token, they sell it on the open market. So it'll be interesting as these layer 2s start to incentivize the community with more and more coins. Does the community hold on to these coins and kind of restore value in these coins, or do they dump them on the open market and then, you know, just claim the yield?
Right.
The waiting game, we'll have to wait and see.
We probably could claim that Arbitrum and Optimism need a token ASAP.
Yeah, to get the interest up. It seems like Optimism has a much larger community behind it, a lot more brain power, but it seems like they're being a bit slow, and Arbitrum is more ready. It's interesting though, because I think we were on a cast with somebody. He told us that while Uniswap invested a bunch into Optimism, they chose to launch on Arbitrum, or maybe it was vice versa. But it was interesting to see how there was large investors into Uniswap, and then they chose the opposite scaling solution. So yeah, all kind of an interesting little, as we say, scaling wars here. Yeah, I think it's all for the best of scaling Ethereum though.
Cool.
Yeah, I think those investors might be hedging their bets, right? Like, you know, cryptocurrency is certainly the move and a capital generation event, but if you don't really know what part of the ecosystem is going to thrive, kind of getting a little bit of each, a little bit of each piece could be the best way to concentrate your bets and ultimately achieve the largest return.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's really going to come down to which applications are on these layer twos. The layer two with the most popular applications is going to be the most widely used layer two. So at the end of the day, I think layer two is really just that base level, and it does come down more to the applications that are on top of it.
Cool. Next topic, what I wanted to touch base with you is about decentralized exchanges. So firstly, you as a user, do you prefer centralized exchanges or decentralized exchanges? This is again talking about security, about prone for hacking, etc. So yes, do you think that layer two will bring decentralized exchanges more mainstream because it will be easier and cheaper and faster to use?
Yeah, I mean, we saw them go mainstream with the Safe Moon launch on Binance Smart Chain and that kind of stuff. So without having your coin on Binance Smart Chain for that amount of retail, it would be impossible. So that's definitely good, and I think we can see that play over again and again with these layer twos coming to these decentralized exchanges. And yeah, again, I think it kind of comes down to having that kind of happen in the back end and the users almost not even being aware of it, doing it on a UI that is just like, all right, do you want to swap from this to this? Okay, fine. They don't even understand that it goes through Uniswap because it's just on this app or on this easy to use protocol interface. So I think it does bring a lot of usability to the masses. I'm a little bit worried about the fragmentation of liquidity. Robbie's touched on this quite a bit. We're big whales over here, so we're already getting hit with slippage hard on the dexes. But yeah, I mean, I can only imagine if you got like dexes on 16 chains and you got to pick which one to use. So I think like some sort of multi-chain, multi-scaling solution aggregation tool will be very, very impactful. And I would say that's like the only downside to decentralized exchanges right now is just like the slippage on some trades is way heavier than the 0.005 trading fee on Binance, but that you kind of get the pros and cons with that. So yeah, very bullish on creating a decentralized exchange ecosystem that can facilitate quick and fast transactions for cheap for the users who kind of almost might not even be aware of the fact that they're using it. And then also pretty excited to kind of see how we can take all the liquidity that's in the system across multiple scaling solutions and be able to implement a aggregation tool that will allow us to, use all the liquidity.
Yeah, I don't really see a scenario where DeFi and decentralized exchanges will ever be able to send a trade and settle a trade as quickly or as cheaply as a centralized exchange. So the question becomes, why use a decentralized exchange if a centralized one is going to be cheaper and faster? And I think it really comes in on the market making side of things. In an AMM, there's two sides to that AMM. There's someone taking the trade, but then there's also someone providing liquidity to that decentralized exchange. And if we think about Coinbase or Binance, these centralized exchanges have only 3, 4, or 5 liquidity providers for all of the traders on their platform. So I think allowing the community to be involved in the opportunity of providing liquidity, that allows people to do things like contribute to a Uniswap liquidity pool and participate in yield farms. Whereas if we only had centralized order books, it would be concentrated in like the 4 market makers, that really hedge funds with lots of capital that can take almost every trade. A combined order book and decentralized exchange is really where the trading I think is headed. And Andy touched on this in terms of aggregators, not only aggregating liquidity across different chains, but also between centralized finance and decentralized finance is ultimately the direction I think we're heading.
Right. So I think we all know which project is creating a decentralized trading protocol based on order books, which is DGate. So very excited, obviously, to see the launch of that. And as a disclaimer, I'm part of DGate team, and we believe in the future of Ethereum and believe in the future of decentralized trading to implement exactly what you just discussed.
Yeah, and the bridge is going to be huge too. Getting those assets across chains quickly, safely, in decentralized manner.
Right. Yes. So you as a DEX user, what do you think? You already actually answered this question to me. You would like to see the more user-friendly interface, simplicity, and obviously liquidity incentives, and as little slippage as possible.
Yeah, the biggest thing I think is an aggregator, like Andy mentioned. That's how the system will be able to reduce slippage. So, if we can tap into multiple liquidity pools at once, then we can fund a trade across a lot of different venues, and you don't have to go deep into an order book in order to fill that trade. And ultimately, it's better prices, and it's better for market makers as well, because they're getting just a more comprehensive and unified version of liquidity. And that's how you maximize capital efficiency, is kind of removing these fragments and unifying them all into one large pool.
Yeah, 100%. And creating these markets too on decentralized exchanges is going to be huge. Like, for example, I've been trading a bit of the NFT tokens as of recent, and all of them on Uniswap only have about $35,000 of liquidity until you get over 2% slippage. So that's basically like, if you trade more than, say if you put a $40,000 order in, you're basically paying $800 worth of fees just to make the trade. And that's because all of the liquidity for these tokens is on Binance, right? So these kind of in-game protocols, right? These NFT gaming protocols, if they're able to create an incentive to have their token holders hold their liquidity on Uniswap to allow more decentralized exchange trading, I think that would be huge. Because yeah, I mean, I've been into this stuff recently. It's been interesting because this whole concept of make money while you're gaming, you have to have somewhere to take this money, basically this tokens, and get Ethereum back for it or get USDC back for it. And if the only place that you can go is a centralized exchange, it's going to be tough. But if you can do it in a permissionless manner, on decentralized exchanges, then it basically allows any sort of economic application to happen. And so that being said, I think creating these incentives for any token to allow larger investors to come in on decentralized exchanges is a big win. Like, you'll see all the big DeFi coins now have maximum amounts of liquidity on their DEX pairs, because they have large entities that trade. And so I think that's a huge step for decentralized exchanges. And yeah, again, if we could get that liquidity from Binance and combine it with Uniswap, then we've got like two parts that's much better than just one.
Yeah, we don't face the slippage anymore if we're able to get that combined liquidity, because maybe there's 35 grand of liquidity on that DEX, and maybe there's 100 grand liquidity on Binance. And if I want to do 125 grand trade, I won't move the market too much because there's a combined amount of liquidity. But if I make that trade, let's say 50 on the DEX, I'm going to bump the price way up and fall victim to that slippage.
Very interesting. Really enjoying this conversation, guys. I think it's also very useful for the market to understand what is happening with DEXs, what is happening with trading. You touched base quite a lot about NFTs. This is super hot as well. So very happy to be in the crypto market right now that is developing so fast. And thank you for keeping this up, for informing us. What's cooking in DeFi Slate kitchen? What's next for you? Any major plans or something that you would like to share?
Yeah, we have a lot of exciting updates. I'll touch on one, and then I'll let Andy take it from there. We're building a starter course with a lot of different DeFi projects that are out there right now. So we want this course to really take someone from DeFi knowledge level 0. If you're completely new and a brand newcomer to this industry, we want you to still feel comfortable in starting this course. So start from ground zero and then work your way up to DeFi skill level 10, where you're a yield farmer and you can interact with Ethereum and hop between side chains, going into yield farms and making trades. So we want to take this course and put it out there to our community for free. And through that course, learn about DeFi, learn about a lot of different tokens. And then at the end of that, get an NFT, which is really like a piggy bank of the tokens that you just learned about. And we're working with a team called Charged Particles, who's really experienced in the NFT space. And they're helping us kind of put together this piggy bank concept, where at the end, you get this certificate, which is like an NFT, and it's made up of some Aave, some Link, some YFI, all of these major DeFi blue chips that you just learned about. You have a little bit at the end as this kind of diploma of going through your DeFi curriculum.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's real exciting. We've got some updates on the NFT side, creating a NFT arm to DeFi Slate. So strictly a a newsletter and info project on NFTs. I think we'll call it NFT Slate. So that's coming out soon, kind of as a separate node to DeFi Slate. That's pretty exciting. And then, yeah, we're really looking to try to onboard as many people into DeFi as possible from the realm of like, I'm invested in a 401k and, I've got, either a house or I'm a renter, and basically I'm looking for a place to earn yield / take a bit more risk. So looking to try to onboard as many of those people as possible through, decentralized asset management stuff and just, general consulting and help through that. And then, yeah, just continuing to pump out content about layer 2, being power users ourselves, getting after it, trying to ride trends, make trades, and do as much yield farming as possible. And yeah, getting after layer 2 and supporting the Ethereum upgrade coming up, and making sure that the community is all on the same page.
Thank you very much. That sounds great. So I look forward to talking to you, working with you, and being part of your community and being part of Ethereum community as a whole. Is there anything that you would like to add before we go?
This has been great. Enjoying the summer.
Yeah, layer 2 summer, get after it, and stay tuned to DeFi Slate. Check out our Substack and our Twitter. And yeah, we got you guys covered on everything you need: DeFi updates, tutorials, protocols, news, all that good stuff. So thank you, Agni, for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Agni.
Thank you very much.